Hello everyone, Aquano here, and we're back for our second Octopath Traveler Zero guide. If you haven't watched already, I made a starting class tier list, which was received amazingly. It's my most successful video in a while. If you haven't watched it, make sure to watch it. It's very, very fun making a tier list about all the starting classes. In this video, I'm going to give you guys 10 important tips that can help you a lot, specifically in the early game, but a lot of these tips apply to every stage of the game. So yeah, I hope that these tips are helpful. Again, if at least one of these tips are very helpful to you, make sure to like and subscribe, because I will be making a lot more Octopath Zero guides. Again, without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. For this tip, I am at the title screen because there's something a lot of you guys have missed, and this is the promotional bonus. You can see it at the corner of the screen here, the promotional bonus. Make sure to pick this up as soon as you can. If you've just started the game, it's fine. It won't really be it won't really take effect until you reach a certain point in the early game. But get this as soon as you can. It is very, very important. You just have to press Y here on the controller. It'll say which button you have to press, and you can collect save data bonuses for these two games and other games like the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D Remake and the Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake, which are HD2D games, other HD2D RPGs made by Square Enix. Just like this game. And I'm pretty sure that if you don't have Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, but you have a demo save data, it works. I'm pretty sure I heard someone say that. Actually, I'm stupid. It says it on the top. Demo save data is also valid. So yeah, if you have a demo save data, it works because there are demos for these games. Now, is it worth to play the demo of these games just for items? I would say not so much for these two, but I'm pretty sure that for late game grinding, these two statues, being French is hard. Yeah, these two statues will give you an insane amount of JP and XP over time, because every time you do a battle, it'll give you a little extra. So make sure to place them as early as possible. Now, when you collect these in the title screen, it's not over yet, because when you start the game, you will realize that they're not in your inventory. So what do you have to do? Very, very simple. You just have to head in the tavern. Here, I collected those bonuses, and I'm pretty sure I do not have these things. Yeah, I don't have them, just to show you guys that it's actually not over. So go talk to Fen once you've actually rebuilt the tavern. So you would need to progress through the main story of Wishvale a little bit, but when you unlock the tavern, you will have access to the hub, and there is an option called collect bonus, and this is where you collect all your bonuses from having played the demo, from having played the demo of other games, and there it is, collect bonus, and here are all the things. Again, if you're not a Dragon Quest player, it's fine. The Dragon Quest rewards are very minimal, and I think it's by design. The rewards for playing Octopath 1 and 2, like I said, are insanely huge. It allows you to have statues. Let's put them right now. Look at these beauties. The blue Kate statue and the blue Octopath statue. One of them will give you more JP, one of them will give you more XP. So make sure to grab those as soon as possible. My next tip is about dishes. Make sure to cook every single dish you can and always keep one copy of it in your inventory. Why? Because some potential villagers, like this one here, require a food offering before you can recruit them. So you basically have to impress them with your cooking skills so that they can join your village. Like this one here, invite requires a tomato salad, and he's pretty cool here because he slightly increases the yield of the range. So here we invite him, and we just give him the food and he joins us. So how do you get the dishes? Now, if you haven't unlocked the option yet, let me show you. You just have to advance the story of Wishvale a little bit, not too much. It's very, very early, just enough to unlock the tavern. And when you unlock the tavern, you just talk to Fen and you can cook anything here. Well, anything. You will unlock recipes with time, but try to get a copy of every single recipe you can craft, because you never know, you might be exploring some city and one requires a food offering. So to save yourself the backtracking, make sure to cook in advance. Now, in this game, you have 4 different storylines you can advance at the beginning of the game, and they are the Power, Fame, and Wealth storylines with the Wish Veil storyline. I recommend to advance the Wish Veil first. Now, obviously, you will have to do all 4 at the same time because the levels, increase. But whenever you have to make a choice between same level, be sure to advance the Wish Veil one first, because it will unlock so many mechanics that are just key to the progression in the game. You can unlock party members through this storyline. You can unlock ways to farm items. It can make it so you can put more houses down, so you can put more villagers down, and every villager has some villagers have a chance to give you like materials, so you can farm this, and of course the very, very important crop system and the ranch system, which allows you to farm food. Anyways, a bunch of other mechanics. You're gonna get a training ground later, other stuff that I'm not gonna spoil. I'm here on my early game save, but yeah, the town mechanic might seem like a secondary objective, but it is kind of at the center of everything, and lore-wise, you kind of have to rebuild the city, so make sure to prioritize it above the other storylines. Now, we talked about Wish Veil, we talked about planting, we talked about cooking, and this tip kind of touches all of those 3. When you unlock the opportunity to cook, to plant stuff, and you have the option to plant mushrooms, which you can get pretty early in the game. You just steal everything in the first 3 cities, and you'll find it. Make sure to plant these mushrooms first every time you can to make a dish that is very, very useful. Where is it here? The Ember Shroom Soup. It gives you 10% SP at the end of battle. Amazing when you are going through dungeons and you want to keep the SP up. This is an infinitely farmable item, by the way, because it only requires 1 mushroom, and you can plant mushrooms infinitely once you get the mushroom key item, which you can start the game with, by the way, but don't do that because you can get it from stealing it from an NPC very early in the game. So yeah, make sure to cook the mushroom dish as many times as possible, because SP management is very important early game. Now, this is a very important tip. I want you guys to save your soul stones as much as possible, especially early game. If you're not familiar with them, soul stones are items that allow you to do magical damage. Let me find them real quick. There they are. So light soul stone, wind soul stone, thunder soul stone. Anyways, there's soul stones for every element, and they allow you to do magic damage to all enemies. Make sure to save those, or at least make sure to always have a decent amount of those on hand. Why? Because of Kate Siths. These Kates, which is, this little cat thing on the statue, you can find them pretty much anywhere, but they are extremely rare, and you don't want to waste the opportunity if you manage to find one. Why? Because they give you an insane amount of XP and an insane amount of JP and pretty good money as well. So, but why the soul stones? Well, Kate Siths have basically an insane amount of evasion and elemental defense. Their elemental defense is basically maxed out to the point where any kind of magic damage will do 1 damage to them. So yeah, 1 HP. And while hitting them with physical skills is extremely hard unless you boost your accuracy, lower their evasion. It's pretty hard to do. You have to get very lucky. So, why are soul stones very good? Because soul stones are programmed to do a set amount of damage. That means that they get past the elemental defense, which means a couple soul stones, if not 1, is enough to one-shot, to kill Kate. So make sure to always have them on hand, because you definitely don't want to waste a chance to kill one of them. Now, in this section, I'm here to denounce a fraud. Yes, a fraud. There's one character that you can recruit early game among these 6 that I think is not as good. And that is why this tip is about not giving them magic nuts. Nuts. Well, I guess I just spoiled it, but yes, it is Alexia. I don't think Alexia is that good, and you will replace her, honestly, as soon as you find another scholar, because, because of her passive skills. Now, you know how like every single class gives you a passive skill that gives you 50 of a certain stat depending on the class, and usually it's the same stat for the class. So basically, every single hunter gets accuracy, every single cleric gets elemental defense, stuff like that. That's how it worked in the previous Octopaths, but in this one, it's actually just character dependent, and not every scholar gets elemental attack for some reason. I don't know why they didn't give her elemental attack. Instead, they gave her elemental defense, which makes her a lot weaker than another scholar who has 50 elemental attack. Now, I'm not saying she's a bad character, but I'm saying if I'm investing magic attack nuts on someone, which are a very important resource, you don't want to waste them on characters you're not going to use later, then I probably don't want to give them to her. I probably want to give them to another scholar I get later. Like for example, my goat Cyrus from the first game, which is probably one of my favorite characters in all RPGs. I love Cyrus, so I'm probably just gonna wait and give my magic nuts to Cyrus. So again, it is a bit of a bummer that Alexia does not get elemental attack as a bonus stat. I don't know why they did this, but it's elemental defense, which is very good for healers, but she doesn't have any healing skill. Again, I don't know. It is what it is, but I warned you guys. If you still love Alexia as a character and you do want to play her again, go ahead. Video games are all about fun. Do what you think is fun for you. But if you're someone who's more wants to optimize things, then this tip is for you. Do not give your nuts to Alexia. Again, if you disagree with me in the comments and you think Alexia is the best character in the game, make sure to let me know in the comments why. Now we're going to talk about the starting skills. You have 3 options when you start the game, and I'm giving you guys this tip because that kind of changed my mind. Now, obviously, I don't think it's worth resetting, but before I played the game much, I thought that the twin shot skill was the best one. The twin shot here is twin shot mastery. It costs 22 to do a double hit with any weapon. Now being able to double hit with any weapon is amazing, but the problem is it costs 22 SP, which is a lot. At the beginning of the game, it's like a third of your SP bar, so it's kind of crazy. I really don't recommend to pick this unless you're playing the Thief, which means you can just SP Thief, or the Merchants, which means you can just rest. Now, rest doesn't give you as much SP as a fully charged SP Thief, but still, if you don't have any way to restore your SP, do not pick this. It's extremely expensive. Same thing for the healing starting skill. It restores decent amount of HP, and it only restores 10% SP, which is honestly not worth the 12 SP you're using, especially early game. And late game, you're gonna get better anyway. So I don't really understand. I don't really think it's good because it's basically a more expensive version of the healing skills you get early, like first aid and again, first aid on these 2. You have 2 characters of first aid, which is half the price of the starting healing skill. So I would recommend actually picking the debuffing skill, which can be amazing because first of all, your debuffing options early game are almost non-existent. So this will help you a lot, especially since 3 of the 4 DPS you have access to, which is you as a DPS, and then your 3 other DPS, well, actually, no, technically 5 if you count yourself, but Celsus, Fen, Viarar, and Alexia, only one of them is magical. So having an ability that debuffs the physical defense of a boss is insane, because if you do that right before breaking them, you will have an insane amount of damage when they're broken, because you will unleash all the BP of your 3 physical DPS, and this will multiply your damage by a lot. So if you haven't started the game yet, you're just, looking at videos, getting hyped from the game, make sure to pick the debuffing starting skill. And if you haven't, and if you have played the game already, well, just know that I changed my mind. And if you pick Twin Shot Mastery just like me, well, it's too bad. Anyways, let's get to the next tip. Now, this is kind of Octopath 101, but if you don't know, let me give you this very important advice when it comes to combat and turn management. Do not break a boss if you are the last one to act, or if most of your party has already acted. It is kind of a waste. When you break a boss, the boss is, well, any enemy, the boss will stay broken during that turn you broke them and the next one. So if you're the last one acting and you break them, you basically only have 1 turn to unleash damage on them, which is not good because you usually want 2 turns because you can cycle through the back or the front row to use your BP and unleash a lot of damage. So what you want to do, you want to use the defend option. If you're the last one to act, and the enemy has enough shields for you to break, so either one, or if you have multi-hit move, then two. Anyways, if you are able to break the boss as the last one playing in the turn, just defend. Defend will put you back at the beginning of the timeline, and that way you can break the boss at the beginning of the turn, which gives you 7 actions while the boss is broken instead of just 4. So yeah, very, very important a combat tip to maximize your damage. Honestly, this is like probably the most important tip in all of Octopath. Like, if you're not doing that, you're playing the game on hard. So make sure to not break the boss too early if you are at the end of the turn. For this tip, I want you to remember that every single weakness is always shown in the same order. So for Octopath veterans, you probably know this, but if you forgot, let me remind you. When you try to guess the weakness of an enemy, remember that the weaknesses are always shown in this order. The physical weaknesses first, and then the magical. For the physical weaknesses, it's always sword, spear, dagger, axe, then bow, staff, book, and then the fan. For the magical weakness, it's fire, ice, then lightning, wind, and then light and dark. So try to find a trick to remember all the weaknesses order. For the physical ones, it's pretty easy to remind yourself. You just go to your equipment, and you'll see that when you try to equip a character, you'll see that the equipment type, they are shown in the same order I just said. Sword to fan, in that order. So try to find a trick to remember them, because it will help you make educated guess when hitting an enemy. For example, if their first physical weakness is a dagger, well, you know that there's no way they can be weak to polearm or sword. So don't try those. You know what I mean? So yeah, make sure to remember this order when trying to find the enemy weakness. A really important thing, or a mechanic, that most players tend to forget is the helper mechanic in Octopath 0. So very similar to Octopath 1, but in this game, your main character can do any kind of recruiting thing, and he can recruit 5 helpers at the same time. So to look at your helpers, you just need to press the X button, and then you can look helpers here. You can have 5 of them at the same time, so make sure to get 5 as soon as possible to have more options in battle. These helpers are very, very good because everyone in the party can use them. So if you have a turn, if one of the supports, for example, have a turn where they don't really have much to do, for example, if your healer has no one to heal, then they can just use the summon helper mechanic. So there's multiple ways to get a helper. You can hire them, you can impress them, or not, this is just like recruit them or impress them. To impress them, you have to fight them. So either you pay them, you beat their ass, or you get lucky and recruit them. So make sure when you explore the three early cities, the 3 starting cities, make sure to look at every single recruitable NPC and pick the best ones. Now, what are my recommendations? I highly recommend NPCs, helpers that have double hit moves. Like this one, deal ice damage. Well, this one is not a double hit move, but this one, deal staff damage to full 2 times, for example. I really like the double hit moves. Or healing NPCs like this one, heals the HP of the entire front row. AoE heal is very good because it takes some time before you get your first cleric. This one is also good because it gives SP. This one is just elemental coverage. So again, you choose what is more important to you. Again, it depends on which class you started with, but make sure to get 5 helpers as soon as possible. So that was it for these 10 tips. Again, I highly recommend, I'm asking you all to share your own tips in the comment section. Why? Because this video is here to help people. So if there are even more tips in the comments, people can watch the video, then read it, and have a bunch of tips to help them get through this game. So yeah, if you have any tips to share, make sure to share it. And like I said in the intro, if at least one of those tips was very helpful to you, make sure to like and subscribe, because I will be making a bunch of other guides on Octopath Traveler 0. This is one of my favorite franchises, and I'm very, very hyped to get through the game. It was Aquano, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!